respect to the man.
Thank you so much for joining us. It's another beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Of course, a very cold afternoon, I must say. And of course, a lot of persons are saying what is happening around concerning the weather, what it looks like today. Thank you so much for joining us on Your Viewpoint. I am Rotimi Akintoday. The nation of tolerance is very important, of course, germane to civil societies, to our societies today, and of course it is generally acceptable in different settings, and it's also considered as critical for peaceful functioning of a culturally diverse society. We're going to be talking about tolerance today, and as well look at how to deal with intolerance in all forms. Tolerance could be based on a lot of things: rigidity, close-mindedness, religiosity, cultural views, and all of that. We get to talk about all of these things, and of course you would also be a part of the conversation. I have in the studio this afternoon an emotional wellness coach and counselor, co-founder Precise Poise and Mana, Titilola Olufemi. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
We also have a journalist. He's also an author, culture and boxing abolitionist, Barrister Tosin Akonde. It's good to have you in the studio this afternoon.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Culture activist event. And boxing abolitionist.
Thank you so much. So you get to tell us. I've been trying to, wrap my head around that. What does that connote? Peradventure, some persons are listening. Culture activists. Okay, now let's talk about the boxing abolitionist.
Okay, so you understand the dimension of the culture activist?
You talk about the one I'm asking you. For the benefit of the viewers, somebody might be asking, okay, abolitionist, is it that, okay, you're against boxing or whatever it is?
That's true.
Yes, why?
Well, because, good afternoon once again, viewers. The basic reason why we are against it is because Africa and the third world,
okay,
specifically, are boiling at the moment.
Okay.
Owing to bad leadership, bad governance, misrule,
okay,
corrupt tendencies of not just leaders, even the followers.
Okay, is that a reason
so
you are against?
Therefore,
yes,
especially in Nigeria right now, you know, we've seen so much of violence.
Okay.
And so, supporting boxing,
yes,
tilts towards violence.
Really?
And we have statutory decisions,
okay,
court decisions, even in England, where more or less historically they believe it originated from.
Okay.
So we are doing everything to frown at it. We have our own traditional kind of combat. In Yoruba land, for instance, we call it Eke.
Okay.
There's a name for it in Igbo land.
Okay. In fact, there is one in the northern part of Nigeria.
All right.
Very
where you
common.
don't have to do bodily harm.
Harm, really?
You don't have to do bodily harm. So
okay.
These are some of the things we are making
whether it's boxing or whatever it is, combat is combat.
UFC.
Combat, but you are concerned. But you are concerned about the bodily harm.
Yes.
All right, thank you so much. Maybe some other time we get to talk about that. Today,
I'll be glad to be here.
Okay, great. We're looking at tolerance. All right, and maybe tolerance would have something to do with what you just talked about. But in the course of this discussion, maybe we will get to talk about that. But then let's look at tolerance in the society today. A lot of things are happening when we talk about religion, culture, especially religion, which I would like us to be more careful about. Little things will just make some people, flare up, and of course, a lot of things are happening. We get unfavorable situation and circumstances. So what is your take about the level of tolerance in our society today?
Okay, so good to be here again. Thank you.
All right.
All right, so when we look at the word tolerance in our society, it's something that I think it's far from people these days. It's not what people are. It's not a virtue everyone kind of have this time around. Or maybe some set of people are even misinterpreting what tolerance is all about. So why do we need tolerance in our society? What is tolerance in itself? Tolerance is all about respecting other people's view, their beliefs, opinion. It's not like accepting it. Just respecting. So if everybody can understand the word respect in tolerance, I think we'll be able to get it right.
Okay, you want to say something about that?
All I just
Your
want to
view
sum,
about
I
it.
want to sum it up by saying that was splendid.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Okay.
That's what tolerance is all about.
Okay.
Respecting the contrary opinions.
Okay.
Not necessarily accepting it, but respecting it.
Okay. So, in which area do you think we have been so intolerant in Nigeria today? You know, if we are saying that, okay, people are not tolerant today, we have people coming from different backgrounds, cultures and all that, working together, doing business together. We have the market there. A lot of people are doing a lot of things together. You know, we still have, you know, people doing one or two things together. So, in which area would you say that you, as a legal practitioner, you have experienced intolerance, so to speak, and you would possibly like, you know, stakeholders in the society to work on?
You have said you are seeking my opinion as a legal practitioner, but I beg that I explain my opinion firstly as a father.
Okay, that's fine.
As somebody who has great interest, much more than a passing interest in the society, I think the error began with the political class. I would not say government.
Okay.
There's a distinction between the two.
Okay.
Nigeria became a corporate entity way back 1914 and became a republic in 1963, got independence politically in 1960. These things are very important timelines. But one thing you cannot take away is the fact that we've had different kinds of governance, different kinds of leadership. We've had parliamentary, we've had military, and then we are now having democracy, which we used to have before, and now we're having it again. But you see, right now, the errors of the past ought not to be continued by succeeding generations. Okay. Today, now, we have a constitution, a working document. Whether it's so good or not is another history, is another
kettle of fish. Yes.
Kettle of fish entirely.
Yes.
But we have something, a working document.
Okay.
If you flew back to what they call, the military called, the fundamental objectives of directive principles of state policy in the Constitution, the Chapter 2 of our Constitution, you see some of these moral things and values. In fact, we have a national ethic. Religious tolerance is one of it.
Okay.
There's self-discipline, self-reliance, social justice, freedom, equality, and so on. All these things are there. But the political class, for example, I begin with them. Lately now, there's this talk going around about Muslim ticket. I'm sure if Nigerians are now listening.
Muslim ticket, okay.
The only thing that is fair is just to have a Muslim and the other.
All right, we are not focusing on that, Barry.
Look, I'm not castigating them.
Okay.
I'm telling you that I said it's an error.
It's an error.
An error should be corrected.
Okay, now, yes, absolutely. We should also look at the beginning of this problem, how it all started, and you have mentioned one or two things as regards that. Now, before I come back to you, let's go to a psychologist, somebody that talks about emotions. Now, at what point is there any relationship between tolerance, being intolerant, and your emotion? Any relationship, any correlation?
All right, thank you. Okay, before we have a society,
okay,
every individual comes from the family. So the family unit is very important. So when we look at what is happening in the family, when you have a father and a mother not getting along, you see that the children tend to pick up some things from them. And you know, children actually pick from what they see, not necessarily what you tell them. So when you look at everybody, including us, we all came from a family. So tolerance from home, I think that's where it starts from. So when you look at tolerance and you are looking at the fact that parents can't agree, and before you know it, it leads to conflict. And you see the divorce rates today as well, all because we can't respect each other's opinion and belief on something or a particular issue. So I think when the family is not as in united, it will definitely affect the society. So that is what we are now churning out into the society. So it now goes to where you get to the workplace and you can't accept or just agree with your colleague in the office, all because you think you have a better opinion or you have a better perspective of something. So that's where you begin to have the conflict. And looking at it psychologically, and I would like to also talk about our personality. It also matters as well. Your temperament, who you are, and also your kind of person, because we have these two personalities. Let me just talk about that, the introvert and the extrovert. So the way an extrovert will take something is different from the way an introvert will actually say or think, because an introvert actually do more of internalizing things rather than speaking out. And before you know it, because that person is not able to voice out what he or she is feeling, maybe there's a law, there is a particular order that is being given, and because you don't agree with it and you can't even talk, before you know it, it starts to show in your character. It starts to show in the way you relate with the other person. And so this is where some of these things stems off from. And for an extrovert that will just flare up or will just talk immediately without control. And you know, when we talk about your emotions, emotions are your inner feelings. And we have to be able to manage our emotions irrespective of how you feel, because your emotions shouldn't control you.
All right. There are other cases whereby people regard all of these things as natural. That naturally I cannot take this, naturally I cannot tolerate this. What do you have to say to that?
So at times I see arguments as escapist. When people try to, we're on the same page with the psychologist. But truth be told, in that place where you call prisons or cells, introverts are there, extroverts are also there. So the most important thing is that we pass messages across. Morality is sacrosanct, and that is one element that has surely been missing.
Are you saying there's no intolerance in prisons? Okay. I'm trying to get what you're saying.
To offend the laws of the state. To offend the norms of the society. To offend people's sensibilities. It has nothing to do with your personality type. The most important thing first is that whether you are an introvert or extrovert, whether you are born in Nigeria or born abroad, the most important thing is that you understand morality questions and issues. I'm particularly worried for this country because the issue of morality, which surrounds the concept of tolerance, has been swept under the carpet. Truth be told, honestly, truth be told, I won't allow a situation whereby we begin to celebrate immorality and we are saying that we are advancing in the name of maybe say high tech.
Let me quickly take you there. Now, when we talk about immorality and all of that, you know, most of the time people also talk about freedom. Freedom of what you want to do.
Let me say one thing there.
Yes.
These are some of the arguments that try to get us edgy. Even in the constitution of the country, section 45 restricts your freedoms to act. From section 33 of the constitution as amended, 1999 as amended, to section 44, you have all the rights. Right to freedom of expression, right to the freedom of the media, right to peaceful assembly, right to associate. But section 45 restricts your rights. Because where your rights that you have gathered, where it ended, that's where for some other people it's beginning. So the morality issue is always the big issue. You must respect the rights of somebody else. In issue of tolerance, for instance, if you are intolerant, it could lead to a fight between two. And from a fight between two, it gets worse. Many of the religious crises we have had began with two persons. Just with two persons. Or began with issues between two persons. And before you know it, conflagration.
It escalates and
so that is why we are saying that morality issues. I've been in situations where I drive on the road, and I see the way our people have been militarized. These are some of the things that we are saying that it has gone before. In those days, we used to say, the home. Now, the home appears helpless.
All right, we will stop there.
Everything now goes on the mass media. Where all these children get their information from is now on the internet.
All right, we're going to talk about that. And no matter what it is, we'll still go back to the home, to the family. We're still going to be talking about that. We'll go on this break and we'll be back. Go nowhere.
Did you know that unsafe abortion is a major contributor to the country's high level of maternal death, ill health, and disability? Abortion is the termination of a pregnancy by removal or expulsion of an embryo or fetus. This process is done by either taking medicines or having a surgical procedure. The practice of induced abortion has been used since ancient times. Various methods have been used to perform or attempt abortion, including the administration of herbs, the use of sharpened implements, the application of abdominal pressure, and other techniques. A natural occurring abortion known as miscarriage is different from an induced abortion. Abortion laws and their enforcement have fluctuated through various eras. In the 20th century, abortion rights movements were successful in having abortion ban repealed. While abortion remains legal in most of the West, this legality is regularly challenged by anti-abortion groups. The Soviet Union under Vladimir Lenin is recognized as the first modern country to legalize induced abortion on demand. China used abortion as a state-ordered birth control method during an effort to reduce the population in the 20th century. There are types of abortion. They include medical abortion. This involves taking medications to end pregnancy. Surgical abortion. This is a procedure done by removing pregnancy tissue from a woman's womb. Surgical equipment are used to perform this type of abortion. Suction abortion. This technique is conducted by applying a gentle suction to empty the uterus. Dilation and evacuation. This involves the use of surgical instruments and suction to empty a woman's uterus. There are several reasons why women abort their pregnancies. This includes they no longer want to be pregnant, they have medical conditions that make pregnancy life-threatening, the fetus has a serious medical condition. It is important to note that there are various side effects to abortion. This includes bleeding, cramping, dizziness, and vomiting. There are possible complications that might arise as a result of abortion. They are damage to the womb or cervix, excessive bleeding, incomplete abortion requiring an additional surgical abortion procedure, infection of the uterus or fallopian tubes, scarring of the inside of the uterus, sepsis or septic shock, uterine perforation, death. Meanwhile, there are other future risks of abortion, which could range from the following: infertility, breast cancer, STDs and pelvic inflammatory disease, unstable mental health such as depression, anxiety and guilt, abortion and sexual dysfunction. Abortion in Nigeria is illegal. The abortion laws of the Criminal Code are expressed within sections 228, 229 and 230. Sections 228 states that any doctor providing a miscarriage to a woman is guilty of a felony and up to 14 years of imprisonment unless it is performed to save the life of a woman. In 2012, about 1/4 of Nigeria's 9.2 million pregnancies were unintended, a rate of 59 unintended pregnancies per 1,000 women aged 15 to 49. According to research conducted by World Health Organization, more than 56% of these unintended pregnancies ended in an induced abortion, 32% ended in an unplanned birth, and 12% in a miscarriage. Most of the abortions conducted in Nigeria are performed by unskilled practitioners without license. The slow uptake of family planning in Nigeria has contributed to the high levels of unintended pregnancy and abortion. As preventive measures to reduce induced abortion, women need to embrace family planning, while teenagers or youths should abstain from premarital sex until they are ready for marriage.
Thank you so much for joining us. We have been talking about issue of tolerance in our society, how best we can deal with intolerance in all forms, and of course I've been speaking with Titilola Olufemi and of course Barrister Tosin Akonde. Now let's quickly look at the issue of religious intolerance. How can this be handled, best handled?
Well, the best way for me to handle it is just know whatever faith you practice,
Okay.
and stick to it. You see, I found something very interesting out, during my postgraduate studies.
Okay.
I did an elective course on African religion, and I found out that they don't proselytize. The people who are faithful to Shango, for instance, don't go to Obatala people to say, come and start practicing Shango.
So why do we have that issues between, the two
I don't know.
religions?
We met it like that. Don't forget that they brought them here. What I'm saying is the one we met here, the one we found here in Africa, they don't proselytize. The Obatala guy will not tell the Ogunman, say, come and leave Ogun and come here. The Ogunman will not tell the Eshu. Not the Eshu Satan now, there's a God Eshu.
Yes.
Will not tell the Eshu man to leave Ogun and leave Eshu and come to me. They don't proselytize. So, but when these two new concepts came, I'm a Christian, know that our tongue talking, having bound by God's grace, sin killing, demon chasing brother. But it's alright. But what we are saying essentially is that, look, seek knowledge. If you seek knowledge indeed, if you have a particular faith you adhere to, pursue it, get a master's degree, possibly a third degree, PhD in it, and you become so good at it, it guides you.
Are you trying to say
have peace of mind?
Not having sufficient knowledge is a reason?
That's number one factor. They don't. The Berean Christians had sufficient knowledge. For example, in Acts 17:11.
Whatever they teach
so whatever they taught them, they went back home to consult the Bible. Is this true? Is it aligning what this man is saying? But now it's the opposite. In third world. And even in countries like the US, now it's the opposite. Is whatever their pastor says now, without being disrespectful to pastors, because this one now touches my heart. So many people in this process are being led astray. If you are a Christian, carry this Bible reader. If you are a Muslim, carry the Quran and read it to understand. At a point, you will find a point of intersection where there will be peace of mind for you.
All right, let's look at it from another perspective. Some people would say because things are really hard, that's why they get intolerant. They can't be patient, they can't endure and all of that. Something comes up and they just react. What's your take about that?
Okay, all right.
Can not having money be a reason to be intolerant? Let me put it in a simple form.
There can be so many factors that can lead to people being intolerant. Okay? Of course, not having money, and if you look at what is going on in the society, if you look at our economy today, and the fact that a lot of things are not really working like that to support individual. So there might be a reason that something that can trigger that intolerance and be able to to want to get something being done immediately, or however they want it that way, whatever way it's going to come. Okay, the world that we are in today, everybody is in a hurry, so everybody wants to get it quick. There's no patience. Again, we don't have that virtue of patience. Looking at how things are being built over time, when you look at the story of, you are looking at a building, it doesn't just come up in a day. But today's world, everybody wants it fast. We want the microwave wealth. We just want to get it fast and quick, and that's why you even see young people going into so many atrocities these days. So a lot of things can contribute to being intolerant in our society today. And if the government, if the leaders, if the society that are meant to help them are not churning out, not giving out the help that is necessary, everybody wants a way out.
I'm sure you're aware some parents are not tolerant of some children that are not doing well. In fact, they send them away, send them out, so to speak, and say, okay, can't you see your friends, they are doing well, they bring big cars and all of that. Why are you not doing that?
Well, there are so many stories along that line. In fact, there's even a young girl that talked about the fact that her mom wants her to lie, all because he wants to get something from the father. And this young girl is finding it as a difficult to lie. That why would I lie to get something from my dad? Why can't I just walk up to him and just ask him? All because the mother wants something. So you can see that we are breathing this intolerance in our society, and it's affecting a whole lot of things. People can't really come together. People can't agree on certain things, and everybody wants to just compromise and just say that, okay, I just have to get out of these things. I just have to, and that's why everybody's looking for a way out, a way of escape to be able to just find their footings and be able to do what they have to do.
All right, Barrister Akonde, let's look at it from the religious perspective again. You talked about one or two things there. Let's look at the leaders. Are they doing enough to help curb intolerance when we talk about religion?
Okay, I'll answer you the best way I can in order to get as much as the entire gamut of agents of socialization there are. The home is the first and foremost agent of socialization. Most importantly too, now we have the media, the mass media. By extension, the social media, the new media. All right, so the government the religious centers, and friends, peer pressure, peer groups. You see, what I am saying now is that we should have what we call institutional cooperation across board. All of them must now continue to sing the same note that the child will dance to for you to have a truly successful child. I raised issues on Sunday, and a few people, oh my God, a few people felt that, sorry about that, a few people felt that maybe, that's too extremist. I made people realize that, look, Father's Day for me is not yet Huru.
Okay, you also mentioned something like that on social media, but let's take some messages. Remember, you can be a part of this conversation. Drop your comment on the social media platforms, and also send an SMS to 070, the number showing on your screen, 07044259880. Now, let's quickly look at the social media now. You talk by extension, the media should also be a part
of, be singing the same note.
Yes, we should. Do you see that working out?
It's not likely to work out, especially because of the lapses again.
What are the lapses?
On the government. For example, even we in the media, because don't forget I said I'm a journalist.
Yes.
Even we in the media, we have a self-regulating framework. The Nigerian Press Council, Nigerian Press Organization. All these people, we have them as sanctioning authorities, the NBC sanctioning. So many of them, I can't recall for now, but many of them are there. But they've slept over their rights and their duties. And that's why you see some products that are pushed into the media, you frown at it. Even you, who is a journalist, like, oh, no, this is not nice. How much less the social media world, which is, in fact, which admits of all kinds of shenanigans, much more than the regular media. So we are in problem, partly too, because of the things we're pushing in the media. Our songs, the lyrics in our songs, are not edifying. They are not normal songs. Everything now is about sex, fame, money, power, oppression, and so on. So what do you expect of a generation that sinks in all such messages, directly or indirectly? They will get back to you. And that's the kind of thing we are having. So the parents too at home, they become negligent. So I said that negligence has become an offense across board in the country. Every agent of socialization that is important has become negligent. You will not get a different result. This is what you will get.
Can we really do anything about the social media, which you have talked about?
The only way we can start is if you see the government again will come in. If, for example, look, there's what we call the concept of State of Nation address. Obasanjo was doing it in his heydays as a civilian guy. But if we can have, even it doesn't have to be the president, a local government chairman can come here and buy airtime and speak to the people of the local government. It doesn't have to be the governors or the presidents. What are you telling me? I've seen some of the pains. We've been elsewhere by the grace of God and seen how countries are run. This is not how countries are run.
You also want to look at the connection, the gap between leaders and the governed. People who govern and people that are the governors and the governed, so to speak. Now, we're going to talk about that. But then we are going to look at some other issues. Let's look at how we can start practicing tolerance. What is the best way to start practicing tolerance? Let me go to.
All right. I was going to say something to that. When we say that everyone is now intolerant and all of that, I believe that there are still fragments of some people that still believe that there can be a change. Yes, of course, most people that have that belief before are also changing their minds. However, I think that the few or the fragments that we still have can still come together and do something. So when we look at also the media, we have people that are also working in the media that believe that there can be a change. So if everybody starts to come together as in gradually, and we are trying to push the right content out there, we are trying to push the moral-based content in our songs and the kind of programs that we put to the society out there, I think we can also start to come together, because if we continue to condemn, then we will not have a headway. So, but let's start to work together. What do you have? What do you have? Where are you working? Where's your area of influence? Where's your area that you can actually start to reach out to the people, to the community that you are within, and let's start to change the status quo. Let's start to make things work out right, because we can't continue to say things are not working, yet no one is doing anything about it. Yes, it might take a while, because people might be like laugh at you or even mock you, that because even the normal, it's now seen as the abnormal now, okay? But however, I think there's still a way out of all of this. So we can begin to say that, okay, let's start For instance, I work with the children, I work with teenagers and young adults, and we are trying to raise this generation as well.
Do we even have parents that can raise children that are tolerant?
Okay.
Do we have them?
You see,
All right.
more,
I'm
of what
asking.
more of what we have now are children raising children.
Children, exactly.
See,
Yeah.
she was talking about a point, and I was going to, supplement it with
Okay.
a few more facts. He said that there's a parent who is saying that comparing the child, and saying or sending the child out.
Okay.
These are again boils down to some of the things we have found out that is a problem with our society. We are superficial with respect to Western values. There are certain things that God placed in us when He created us. He knew that the black man is going to be fundamentally and holistically different from the white man. But you see, the white guys will bring their own things here and foist it on us. It's on the day of the last judgment. God knows what He placed in you. So if He's expecting you to start talking African and you are giving account in European,
Or possibly you change your complexion.
can you imagine your
and you're not
hellfire
recognized.
is just about being prepared for?
Okay.
Because I don't know, we can't seem to find, looking words. There's something that God has given us as well. We have to find it out. When our independence leaders were Africanizing, that's the concept, when they were non-Africanizing our polity, that was when they had problems.
Now let's quickly look at let's take people back in time.
Yes.
When we used to have people, you go to a village, so to speak, you get there and they don't know you from anywhere, and they just bring you in, give you food, give you shelter, give you clothing, and in fact they would even ask you, do you want to stay for some days and all of that. You can go anywhere and you feel free. In fact, you can go to religious organizations, religious places. You go there, but if you do that now, you cannot tell exactly what will happen to you. What do you think has gone wrong?
That's the BBA concept.
Is it now? Are you blaming Westernization for this?
Over Westernization.
Over Westernization.
It's a global word, I admit. But what we are saying is that look at the psychologist. She's looking good. Okay, I'll take this away. I'm not saying you should steal it.
Okay.
I'm going to dress like this next time I'm coming for program. I'll put my bangles here and I'll make sure that all is well. Okay, that's good. But what Africans are doing is that they want to take everything from the white man, ignoring what they have got. For example, I was talking about the concept of Father's Day and Mother's Day. I'll say it again on air.
Okay.
Here in Africa, you see, the love for parents, it's inborn. It's written on our hearts. We don't need a day set aside to mark it or to honor it.
All right.
The white man can set a day aside for such because they don't have the time. In fact, look, when their parents are grown, they take them to old people's homes. That's where they put them. But you know, we don't do that here.
Yes,
we bring them in.
Okay.
We take care of
But
them.
is it a bad idea that we brought it here?
Completely. Look, when I was doing mass communication, one thing we were made to understand, you can't separate these things from the noble professions we are doing.
All right, Barrister.
Let me learn, please, quickly.
Okay.
When I was doing mass comm, they taught us different kinds of media theories.
Yes.
What Africa needs and Nigeria needs is a revolutionary media theory, not the top to bottom as we've had. Where has it taken us?
All right. Look, we are going to talk about this Father's Day. We need to go on this break, right?
I know it's going to make people like you.
We'll go on this break and we'll be back. Now, remember, we have sport fact for you, and right after that, we have people on the street who also spoke. They shared their opinions about what we're talking about today. Talked about tolerance in society. We'll be back. This is your viewpoint. Please go nowhere.
Today, we are taking you down the history of table tennis and how it has become a sport loved by all. Table tennis, also popularly known as ping pong, had its humble beginning as a parlor game, open to anyone with access to a table, paddle, and ball. The game began in the 1880s when lawn tennis players adapted their game to play indoors during the winter. Ping pong is a trademark name for the table tennis and associated equipment. The name ping pong was invented by the English firm J. Jacques and Son at the end of 1800s and later trademarked in the United States by Parker's Brothers, the board game company. The game quickly caught on, and as early as 1901, tournaments were being conducted with over 300 participants. The Ping Pong Association was formed and was renamed the Table Tennis in 1922. According to Wikipedia, in 1902, a visiting Japanese university professor took the game back to Japan, where he introduced it to the university students. Shortly after, a British salesman, Edwin Shears, introduced it to the people of Vienna and Budapest, and the seeds were sown for a sport that now enjoys popularity all over the world. In Britain, table tennis had also begun to spread outside the distinctly middle-class confines of London, and leagues sprang up in provincial towns as far apart as Sunderland and Plymouth. In 1922, an All-England club was formed which boasted such luminaries as Jack Hobbs, the cricketer, and other famous names of the time from world of sport. The Daily Mirror organized and sponsored a nationwide tournament in which there were 40,000 competitors. Table tennis was firmly on the map, and on April 24, 1927, the English Table Tennis Association was born under the chairmanship and direction of Ivor Montagu, son of Lord Ewantinley. He was not only to become the architect of modern-day table tennis, but he also achieved critical acclaim as both a director and film producer. The first World Championships were held in 1927 and were won by Uruguayan Dr. Jacobi. Apart from the famous Fred Perry redressing the balance of England in 1927, this was to be the start of an unprecedented run of success of Hungarians, who completely dominated the game throughout the 30s. Their team was led by the legendary Victor Banner, whose inspiration and skill did so much to elevate the game to sport status. The 1950s saw the game turned upside down by the invention of the sponge or sandwich rubber. This new material for bats, which up till now had been a relatively simple affair with a universal thin covering of pimpled rubber. Until this time, spin had played only a minor part in a game that had been dominated by the defensive style of play. But these pads or paddles introduced by the Japanese had the capacity to move the ball around in an almost magical way. The ITTF, the game's governing body, was quick to legislate a bill to control this new development, seen in some players as equipping players with an unfair advantage. The thickness of the sponge and rubber sandwich was controlled and remains so to this day. But the nature of the game had been changed, establishing the fast attacking speed and spin style of the modern game. Today, the sport, both in England and abroad, is very well established and is growing each year. The culmination of this has been its recognition as an Olympic Games sport, being featured for the first time in the 1988 Games. Television coverage of men's singles attracted an incredible worldwide audience of 2 billion. In China, the game is played by literally millions at work, in school, and in the community parks. Chinese top players are regarded as national heroes with pop star status. Recently, Nigeria's Quadri Haruna hit a milestone by breaking into the top 10 in the world as the International Table Tennis Federation released its latest ranking.
So I just feel like it's just something about your personal ego. You feel like, oh, this is about us. Okay, I would just say that we should just be kind to people, be kind to anyone, because you don't know what the person is facing. Just be kind. It doesn't cost anything to be kind, you know. And I don't mean that, okay, maybe you have to give somebody money. Just simple gestures, like just you know, random acts of kindness, help somebody get better, or say something nice to someone. That's just a random act of kindness.
I believe is about personal, is about individual, and apart from that, most individuals, they have even passed this mentality about religion, and I think all those stuff, which is, and Nigeria is a country with different religion and different tribe, and we have to accept each other the way we are and work hand in hand, do trade together, business together. So I believe the solution to this we should have like time to time lectures or education to educate people, to let them know we can do it in different languages. As we have the Yorubas, we have the Hausas and other tribes, so we should do it in different languages. Then we should try to see the way we can interact together rather. Then as we interact together, we begin to learn things together and move with love and unity according to our Nigerian pledge. So I believe that's one of the way out or solution.
For me, I think the main cause of this is the financial constraint. Sonny Okoso once said, a hungry man is an angry man. I advise everybody should not wait for the government. People should look for something else to add to what they do, to give them extra income. Because when your pocket is telling you the truth, you are a happy person. There are so many things you will overlook. But once you don't have it, you are angry, you are agitated. And this tolerance of when you go to places like when they play ball, people are taking one bottle of mineral water, everybody unites, nobody knows Hausa or Igbo. In such condition, everybody unites together. So I think the main thing is the financial capacity of everybody. So if we will be able to get ourselves involved, be busy. If you go back as an individual, look for something that makes you happy. Look for something in your environment that they need that is not there. You'll be able to make some extra income.
All right, thank you so much for being there. We're still talking about tolerance in the society, and you're watching Your Viewpoint. I'm still talking with Barrister Konde and, of course, Silola Olufemi, an emotional wellness coach and counselor. Now she's going to tell us about how to deal with people that are intolerant. What's the best way to deal with that? Because whether we like it or not, you'll still find people that are really intolerant. What can be done? How do you deal with people like that?
All right. Dealing with people that are intolerant can be quite difficult because if they are not aware, then there's no how you can really help them. There's something that is called self-awareness. Self-awareness will take you out there to be able to learn, because actually education, when I say education, just like Barrister said, that seeking knowledge is what we need most in our society. And then, you know, someone can be intolerant and might not even know he or she is intolerant. So how do you let the person know he or she is intolerant? Okay, so you let the person just you give the person maybe instances, you just ask the person some questions, because like I said, the person has to come to that place of understanding I'm actually intolerant of this. So it's that education. When you begin to let people understand what tolerance is in the first place, then the person can now begin to say, okay, is it that? Begin to check himself or herself, because I've been there. You know, when people tell you something that this is what you should do, and you feel you have a better opinion, and you're like, you're not even saying it. Now what I'm saying is the right thing to do until you come to that state that you now understand. Then you now begin to allow people. You now begin to see that, okay, I need to allow other people's perspective as well. I don't know it all. Because when people that are intolerant feel they know it all and they want to give answers to everything, they want people to adjust to their own idea, adjust to their own perspective, and not understanding the fact that we all have different perspectives, we have different opinions about something. So when someone comes to that place of understanding, say the place of awareness, self-awareness, then understanding, then allowing others as well. So you have to be able to be aware. You have to be able to tolerate. You have to be able to come to that point that you are understanding we all come from different backgrounds. We are raised in different ways, and what we are all exposed to also differs. So the way you will view something, thank God we are in viewpoint. The way you will view something is different from how I will see it. Okay. When I tell you to look at that image, I'm pointing at that image over there. What can you see? I tell you, everyone in this room
when you see 6 and 9,
different.
yes, you turn 6,
you turn
the other side you see 9.
And it's not like the other person is wrong.
Now, do you think a level of knowledge or education whether you're literate or you're educated, would have anything to do with being tolerant or intolerant? Does it have anything to do?
Yes, it does.
From your perspective.
Okay.
Let me listen to the psychologist first.
Okay, as a psychologist, let's hear
All
from
right.
the psychologist.
Okay, I'm an emotional wellness coach. All right.
Yes.
So of course we still work with the mental health and all of that. Yes. Education is power. So you can't take away someone that is. You can't take from. You can't take something away from someone that is educated, someone that is literate, and someone that doesn't have an understanding or is not even exposed to that thing. So the way he or she is going to take it will be as in quite different. Okay, so when you look at even what we have today, of course, because I said I also work with children, which is a place where I want to talk about. You know, you tell the children, we teach them about probably, for instance, bullying.
Okay.
Why should you stay away from bullying? And some of them don't even know that they are already bullying their classmates. Okay, so when we now bring this awareness to them, they quite understand. So next time when they want to do something, they'll remember. Of course, one of the PTA meetings that we had the last time, there was a woman that was probably commending what we do in their school, and she said that what we are teaching them is quite impactful, because she saw two of her children one day, and one of them was about to do something, maybe raise her hand against the other person, and the second was like, is that what you were taught in school? We were taught not to do this. So that's where the place of education.
Okay, fantastic. Before I go to the barrister, now you have talked about children that are in school. What about children that are not in school? What happens to them?
That was where I was going to come from.
What happens to them?
Ordinarily, education helps to stem and firm up morality. Because if you like, try and separate tolerance from selflessness. If you like, separate tolerance from being charitable.
I would like you to quickly talk about that, because you are still going to talk about what to tolerate. You see, tolerance, to some people, they feel, okay, if you are talking about tolerance, are you saying I should allow mediocrity? Should I allow indiscipline? Should I allow cheating? I still want you to talk about that, but I'd like you to round off on this.
Because I'm rounding up, I'll just take that last line and delve into this new question.
Okay.
They are all under the morality questions.
Okay.
Now, concerning what do I tolerate and what, there are established standards. We met it. We are not reinventing the wheel. We are not. So where we are saying that this thing, that's what we call the societal norms, the morals, the folklores, the values of a society. And we've seen what has greeted the new media now. The things that we cherished in those days are the things that are now being frontally attacked. All right? Don't expose your bodies. We want to wear clothes that will expose our bodies. Don't talk down on anybody you say we have chosen. So the moral question for me remains sacrosanct. In fact, let me educate the viewers the more.
Okay.
The morality question is so germane and important that it has nothing to do with salvation in the church. And that is why you have immoral people inside the church. What the church does is to refine your spirit man. What morality does is to polish you physically.
But religion also talks about morality too.
According to, there is a point of distinction.
Okay.
What religion, for example, according to those who taught us in the faculty of law, they made us understand that religion is the highest distillation point of morality. There's a difference. If this is religion, the table, the higher plane here will serve as the purpose for religion. Religion touches your spirit man. Yes, of course, we will take issues from the morality and extrapolate into religious levels. But we are saying basically that even if you don't have to go to church or mosque at all, just being a good man, that is where morality takes you to. So it's very important. We met these things. We are not going to be reinventing the wheel concerning or as touching on what do we tolerate and what do we not tolerate. So when something excessive is coming from the West, there has to be somebody, there has to be some form of institution through the government or its agencies that must be able to speak up. I remember the Anglo Defence Pact of 1962, all right, where the British colonialists wanted to make us sign a very dirty treaty that whatever war that the UK is going to prosecute, Nigeria must necessarily prosecute and join them. Is it true? Is it good like that? If you pick up somebody here and you are quarreling with the person and you say, we are friends, I must also quarrel with that person. Do we quarrel by association? Is that right? Chief Obafemi Awolowo, as leader of opposition, stood up in the parliament and said this is not going to be. He worked on the student psyche, University of Ibadan, Ahmadu Bello Zaria University, and he organized successfully. We rejected that treaty. We rejected it in the parliament. Why? Because somebody spoke up. So it's about time that this generation begins to understand that not everything that you do you think is acceptable. Some of us will not accept it. We will speak up.
You have something to add to that?
Yes, because at times we might feel that tolerance is just accepting every norm. Okay. For instance, you know, I'm just to keep talking more about family and all of that. A father or a man or a woman that is being abused and is turning into a domestic violence, physical assault. You won't say, oh, because I want to respect my husband, you are now tolerating that. So that is abuse. Tolerance is not abuse.
No, it's not abuse.
Yes, you see, we also have some societal pressures that will make people want to accept what should not be accepted. You want to talk about that, you know, talking about the violence, domestic violence, which you talked about, then what I mentioned initially, there are some other things that are not right, that should not be allowed, which was the question I was asking Barrister Akonde the other time. What, yes. Take for instance, we have been talking about indecent dressing over the years. And of course, people still dress indecently. But as it is today, it's about what is trending. Now it's beginning to change to what is trending, maybe as a result of globalization. That, that is what they do over there. What is your take in few seconds?
I'll just educate them. If you go over there, code kills them for most part of the year. So that's the reason why they wear those bikinis. They are so glad to appear. You think it's naked, quote and unquote, but they are thanking God for summer. All right, so these are some of the problems I've highlighted. You take everything hook, line, sinker, and it's not supposed to be so.
There is this baby on social media. Let me quickly say this before we round off. Now the dad told that baby, Pele, and Pele means sorry, but the baby refused. Now the mom said, your dad is saying Pele to you. He said, the baby said, no, say sorry. And now the father said sorry. Then the baby kept quiet. What do you think is wrong there? Is it normal?
Probably,
considering the fact that we are Africans.
It's the language spoken at home. But thankfully, it's a baby. By the time the child clocks 7, 8, 10, he will probably begin to speak native language. It doesn't have to be necessarily Yoruba. Native language, please let us use it often for our children.
Not using certain
things. Yes. There are certain things if that will inform your depth. For example, you know, there are some proverbs you just say, for instance, you say,
all right.
That's just it.
Okay, unfortunately we're unable to take calls today, but of course we've asked you to send SMS. Don't worry, when as we come on air, we'll be able to take your messages. We've been talking about tolerance in the society, and of course we've been able to touch a major part of the society, how we need to handle people that are intolerant, and how to be tolerant, and of course how to practice it, where we need to go back to, the origin, the foundation, the problems we need to solve. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. I want to appreciate my guests that came on the show, despite the fact that the weather wasn't too favorable today. It was a wet afternoon, I must say. It's been a wet afternoon. Thank you so much. I've been speaking to Titilola Olufemi, an emotional wellness coach and counselor, co-founder Precise Poise and Manners. So one day we get to talk about what you do, the Precise Poise and Manner. We get to talk about something.
I want to learn more, man. I'm saying right after this.
And of course, I've been talking to a journalist, an author, a culture activist, and of course, a boxing abolitionist. One day we get to talk about that as well, because I do not agree with him that boxing should be taken away. Thank you so much, Barrister Tosin Akonde. It's been a wonderful show. Thank you for being here, and we will be back again next week, Tuesday, by God's grace, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Be sure to join us on our social media platforms. I am Rotimi Akintunde. Be good, be nice, do no harm. God bless you. Bye for now.